Good afternoon and welcome all to the Airtel and Cisco webinar. We thank you for coming and spending time with us today. Our topic for today is Intelligent VPN dynamically manage and optimize your company's network. We would request you to keep posting your questions in the chat box so that we could take them up post the discussion. I have Karnav Arya from Airtel and Kumar Nagaraja from Cisco, who would be basically deep diving and discussing in terms of the roadmap and how VPN can help us set up our networks and manage the flow at current times when we have people working remotely for us. We would look at the challenges which we face in the current time and see how VPN can help us tide the gap and basically look at the challenges which all of us are facing at current times. Hi, Kanav. I would just like to add, I would want you to add some points here, and then we'll take some inputs from Kumar and then get into the discussion.
Sure, Rahul. Thanks for inviting us here. Thanks, Kumar. Thanks for being here with us. To begin with, maybe it'll help if we go through some of the challenges that we have identified or we see in the traditional WAN network setup. One of the fundamental challenges that we see is the suboptimal bandwidth utilization. When you club it with the exponential increase in the network utilization across organizations today, this ends up being a very ineffective deployment of resources for companies. Say, for instance, in an Mpls network, you have to kind of have a redundancy maintained at a certain percentage of bandwidth, remaining idle to cater to any spikes that may happen periodically. Then again, the elephant in the room being your pandemic-driven, distributed nature of workforce now. So people, employees are working from homes, from remote locations, accessing companies' applications, resources through various media. So that kind of makes it very difficult for the IT teams to have great visibility into the applications and network utilization from a central location. From the security standpoint, this is also another challenge that in the traditional WAN network that is not being addressed. The traditional way of backhauling, all the network traffic to a centralized location, say a data center, where the enterprise firewall would sit, and then you have a distributed, you have a device level firewall at individual devices, doesn't cater to current requirements in the sense that people looking at direct internet access, accessing companies' SaaS-hosted applications remotely. So the whole security architecture around the network is fairly fragmented in that sense, and has traditionally been looked at as an afterthought to the whole network design. From a provisioning change management standpoint, also it's a fairly decentralized kind of a setup that we see in our legacy networks, which obviously makes it very difficult to make any proactive changes, push policies. Everything has to be managed in a decentralized fashion at each site individually. So I think these are some of the fundamental challenges that the traditional way of WAN architecture is unable, is lacking or is unable to cater to when we look at the changing, enterprise dynamics in terms of how they utilize their networks. And last but not least, being the cloud app readiness piece, where you see, a majority of new applications are largely SaaS-based. Organizations are increasingly adopting cloud because it gives you economies of scale, allows you some, large elasticity in terms of scaling up and scaling down. So that essentially means that clubbed with this whole work from anywhere, new way of hybrid, working, means IT stuff doesn't have adequate security infrastructure, is unable to deploy bandwidth in optimized fashion, unable to have a centralized management and control over the network access, and obviously requires enablement for quality application use experience for their end users. So these I believe are some of the challenges, broadly speaking, that we see in the traditional WAN architecture.
Kumar, I would like to get you in here and understand your perspectives, and then we would get into the tone of understanding from various perspectives.
Sure, Rahul. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining, and Kanav and the Airtel team, thanks for inviting me on this call. I think Kanav alluded to some of the issues, and then just FYI for all of us. I mean, we're trying to make this a little bit of a non-PowerPoint thing. We want to kind of have a discussion kind of a session here, and if there are any questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and whatever we'll kind of explore them. But we want to make it a little bit more discussion and things. So I think Kanav, you brought up most of the current challenges from a network perspective. Um, a few things that I kind of want to get in a little bit more is see today in the traditional architecture, it was all fine. There's nothing wrong in Mpls or whatever, and will continue to kind of exist. I don't think that's going to go away because there's some myth about SD-WAN will replace Mpls, and I don't think that's kind of the right thing to talk about. But fundamentally, what we have seen is all the traffic was between a branch and a data center because that's how we've been traditionally being used to in the last, I mean, at least 20, 25, at least in my career, about 25 years of my experience. And that was fine and it works perfect. Today, I think what we are seeing is obviously there's more applications. The application proliferation is kind of one of the challenges. Today, you don't know where the application is. You don't know where where you're actually going to hit the destination is in the data center, it's on a cloud, it's in a SaaS location. It doesn't matter, right? It could be sitting in corner in my house somewhere, right? Doesn't matter. That's one of the challenges that has brought the, a little bit of a impact or a pressure on the MPLS kind of networks. And also it's I mean, while everybody says pandemic, maybe it has accelerated a little, but this was already started even before the last 18 months, if you will, is the type of access, right? I mean, people can be anywhere. Today, everybody was in a branch office and was a designated device in the branch office they would use to access applications. Today, that's kind of gone, right? They bring your own devices. You can be accessing from your laptop, iPad, mobiles. It really doesn't matter. And you can be sitting in a coffee shop, in a branch, in a home. It doesn't matter. So fundamentally, what has changed the landscape on the user access has changed tremendously from a device as well as location perspective. The application is also changing. So that kind of brings the challenges that you brought up, right? From a, what is the challenges in terms of security and things like that. So it is not about anymore, branch to data center. Today, it is about anywhere to anywhere or everywhere to everywhere is the traffic pattern, which any enterprise is kind of looking at. And also, it's about not about anymore, hardware is not fast enough to host application. It's about user experience. It's about application performance, right? It doesn't matter if I'm accessing the application through my mobile device or my laptop. I have to have the same experience. It doesn't matter if I'm sitting in the branch office, in my location, or at home, or at. So I think that is like the new hybrid work environment everybody keeps talking about, right? And I think those are the challenges that we look at from a WAN perspective. Make sense, Kana?
Yeah, sure. I think that's absolutely bang on. I mean, not just looking at it from just to add to what you've already mentioned, not just looking at the workforce, looking at the overall, digital transformation agenda that enterprises are looking to drive, be it, robotics on job floor, be it sensor communication, be it, cloud-hosted application access for their employees or their end users. So all of that kind of rides on the backbone of, a highly available and resilient network, which is obviously secure. So this kind of the broader picture being the changing role or the more demanding role of the network plays in the overall digitization of the overall economy, if I were to put it that way. The bandwidth cost itself is another cost factor for customers. Not just talking about replacing, say Mpls with broadband. That kind of is a little loosely talked about, given that broadband doesn't really offer enterprise grade SLAs. So that is it's a little different in the Indian market. In that context, I think it's upon us to help our customers understand. But overall, not just bandwidth aggregation, but the bandwidth consumption piece. It's literally doubling every 3 years. So that is another cost factor that our CIOs and technology leaders have to factor in when they are looking to drive these agenda. So I think from a broader industry trend standpoint, from where we are trying to transition from a traditional WAN architecture perspective, and what it really means for the IT teams at our customers, I believe this is broadly where I would say SD-WAN kind of steps in uh, to help us address some of these challenges. So, I mean, maybe, Kumar, I'll just briefly touch upon SD-WAN functionality, and then maybe I'll request you to, help our viewers understand in a little more detail. So, how I would look at SD-WAN is primarily from, three broader buckets. From a device standpoint, SD-WAN essentially is, taking away the decision making and control through a software, putting it in a central location for managing multiple, edge devices simultaneously. Uh, this kind of allows, at least from a network function virtualization perspective, you don't have to have separate devices for firewall, WAN optimization, or routing. So all of that is now clubbed into a single edge device. One, it helps you at least from a hardware refresh standpoint. That's an important time or important consideration that I have come across in our customers when they start evaluating SD-WAN, because it consolidates a lot of edge device infrastructure as well. From an implementation standpoint, the second tenet of SD-WAN functionality, entirely you just have to power on the device. It's literally zero touch provisioning, entirely managed remotely. Devices come on board in a fairly automated fashion. And it's fairly easy to push any policy changes, monitor your network, or any change management that needs to be done. And from routing and utilization standpoint, that I believe is the third major pillar for an SD-WAN functionality. There are a lot of advanced routing protocols, a lot of intelligence being built into the routing part of the SD-WAN, where you can have user groups on regional basis, or a lot of these use cases where very detailed customization of application performance, application access, or bandwidth allocation, or link failover, those sort of things can be implemented. Those rules can be deployed single click kind of a way, pushed across your hundreds of sites simultaneously. So I believe these primarily are the three broader tenets that I see as SD-WAN being able to enable for driving obviously the larger agenda that we've already discussed.
Yeah, I think Kanav bang on some of the things from a SD-WAN feature perspective, it's I mean, if you go back, like, obviously, my experience in the last 5 years on SD-WAN, almost 4 years on specifically on SD-WAN and type of stuff. Fundamentally, if you look at, right, initially it was about simple things, right? Today you get a link from Airtel and you get a broadband and it's terminated on 2 devices, and how do you fail over? So basically, failover was a big challenge, right? How do you use both links effectively? Can I aggregate, or can I use both the links effectively, not have it in an active passive kind of scenario, which is what a lot of customers did. And obviously we came over that based on things like HSRP and those technologies, which kind of made failover comparatively easier and things like that. But I mean, so initially, it was about those kind of things, right? Don't worry about failover. Don't worry about using both the links effectively. Don't worry about sending an application A on link A and application B on link B. We'll figure that out. It's an SD-WAN kind of thing. So if you look at the crux of a technology perspective, it's all routing, right? There is no change, right? It's still the same thing, except that the decision making and the abstraction is what SD-WAN is all about, right? The decision making now is not at the edge level, and it doesn't happen, right? It basically, we were all of us, I mean, as engineers, and we looked at it from a protocol, TCP, UDP, port number, and which port or physical port it came through. Now you don't have to worry about it, right? SD-WAN said, hey, you tell me it is SAP or O365, I will make sure that I'll put it on the right link, right? That's kind of the abstraction part of it. And fundamentally, those were important things for all of us, right? But the last 2 years after the first round of implementations and all, the way it has manifested itself is a little different, right? Today it is not about SD-WAN, it is about secure SD-WAN, right? I just can't say, hey, I will give you a device and I will put an internet link, you break it out. But as soon as you break out the traffic at the branch, security becomes an issue. So it's about securing. Where do you put security? Do you put, because why would you want to backhaul? I think you alluded to this point in your first part of this conversation, where why would you backhaul all the traffic to the data center, right? So those are kind of the challenges. So the manifestation of the initial part of high availability and failover and things like that is in terms of how do you provide security at the right place. Today, application is sitting on a cloud, and a lot of activities going on, either from on-prem to cloud or cloud to multi-cloud kind of activities are going on. Every customer, every enterprise is embarking on a cloud journey in some form or the other. And how do you make sure that accessing cloud applications, doesn't matter if it is SaaS kind of a cloud or if you're actually using infrastructure as a cloud? Airtel does that a lot as well, right? So how do you make sure that integrating cloud, your branch office, your data center where your applications are erstwhile, I mean, traditional data center, how do you make sure that all of that will be, in seamless connectivity, and you don't have to worry about where the application is? So cloud coming into picture, security coming into picture, while user experience and application performance is a given, right? So I think that itself is basically a huge challenge, right? I mean, for the CIOs and the network team members and application, if you will, whoever, maybe it's an application hosted or an end user application, or you're managing the application, you have to provide the same. So I think that is kind of the next level, right? Today we're talking about security with SD-WAN. How do you integrate with a cloud provider or a data center or a co-location provider? Doesn't matter where so how to make it easier? How do you optimize your bandwidth utilization? How do you run on a provider? See, because today if you're sitting worldwide, if you have multiple branch offices, and if you're sitting in an AWS or an Airtel cloud, for example, you drop the packet off at Airtel, how do you use it? So there's a lot more. It's just not, I just want to make one point here, right? It's not about failover. It's not about just kind of making sure the application is pinned to a link. It's more about how do you give the best user experience. It doesn't matter today if I have so much bandwidth or X amount of bandwidth or this kind of a physical device at the edges. That is not the criteria, right? It is about is your end user happy? Is he able to access the application he's supposed to access in a secure fashion, right? Is he the right user who is coming and have the right access to access the applications? So I think those are the questions that are becoming more and more predominant in the industry, and that's the direction I think all of us, right? We are all doing the same thing in that perspective.
Correct. I think this is where we've discussed, I think, offline a fair few times. This, I believe, is where the whole relevance of fully managed service partner such as
Exactly.
Airtel Cisco relationship becomes increasingly more relevant. I believe if you look at potential options for our end customers to deploy SD-WAN, it could be, say, on a DIY model, purchase hardware license from a OEM or a distributor, have their internal teams deploy it in their own data center and and manage it internally. Or it could maybe be engaging with a system integrator in a co-managed kind of a capacity where initial deployment is taken care of by a partner, and at the end of the day, a company or a customer would then own the whole management piece, say from a day to operation standpoint. I think, and the most important or the most relevant or the most talked about model of engagement that I see evolving over a period of time is a fully managed SD-WAN model. What I have seen, like you've suggested, that the discussion is no longer around the basic functionalities of what SD-WAN can do and cannot do, but and rightly so, the discussion is around what are the business outcomes for the customers. So our customers are more concerned about what is the what is the end goal and whether or not we're achieving that end goal. So from a fully managed SD-WAN solution standpoint, a reliable partner who can design, understand their existing network, design SD-WAN enabled network solution, have the capability to deploy it and manage it on an ongoing basis seamlessly for our customers is where our customers are looking at. I think some of the reasons there being SD-WAN fairly new and a complex technology, a lot of cost incurred in terms of developing those skills in-house. A lot of dependency in the sense that that's not really the traditional way of working. So those resources are also fairly difficult to identify and acquire. In terms of investment, making an investment into an SD-WAN infrastructure upfront is kind of a fairly high cost undertaking. And where customers testing the waters for the first time are not really certain of the outcomes. In terms of support, really looking at somebody who they can offload all of the complex operations, day 0, 1, 2, all sorts of security features that you've touched upon, some proactive monitoring and troubleshooting for the customers. Eventually, freeing up their bandwidth, reducing the overall cost of owning this technology, so that they can focus on relatively more strategic agenda. I think that's where I have personally seen a lot of interest and value coming from a fully managed SD-WAN offering. Would be interesting, Kumar, to get your view on how you and Cisco looks at the overall SD-WAN market and how it's developing in India from an engagement model standpoint.
Sure. So, if it's okay, I'm going to share 1 or 2 slides just to kind of bring what you asked about. So, like you said, right, it is about, it's about optimizing for multi-cloud, like you talked about, right? There's a lot of things from a end user perspective, how you integrate, like continuing to what I talked about, right? Right security in right place, how an a service provider can put all this together in a solution and give it to the end customer, because end of the day, obviously enterprises are looking at focusing on their business, not on why the network is slow or why a user's experience is not good, right? So fundamentally, I think, on the left hand side, you'll see the new, like you mentioned, right? It's not about anymore failover of links or whatever. It's about optimize for cloud utilization, because you don't know where the application exists. Right security and right place, because end of the day today, you're not backhauling all the traffic. You're doing a lot of things from an SD-WAN. You're using the best link available at that point in time, and it could be any kind of transport, right? You can terminate different kinds of transport at each location, or at different branches and different devices. And you really don't, I mean, I'm not saying you really don't care, but you really doesn't matter to the software defined wide area network what transport it is, as long as it's doing what it's supposed to do from an SLA perspective and bandwidth perspective, right? And that if you do these things together, then the application performance really becomes predictable, right? It then you all you need to figure out is, hey, how do I look at it? So we have integrated things with Thousand Eyes, which we think is going to give you a lot more details on, how, because today Airtel is embarking on that journey with Cisco, in terms of offering security in terms of with SD-WAN, making sure that it's all integrated in some forum, so that the end customer is getting the benefit of both the links, the SD-WAN technology in terms of application performance and experiences, as well as providing the right security at the right place, right? It's just not about the today you can't talk about all these things in silos. It's one solution. And just to kind of, and not that we're talking about this is completely in terms of, I mean, if you look at here, you see a lot more components, right? Today we are seeing network as a service, Karnav, and I think security as a service, right? End of the day, we are embarking on the journey together as a team. We want to make sure that, hey, today this journey for end customers can be at different stages, right? You may have basic security and some SD-WAN technology involved, or you may have just security and you may be embarking on an SD-WAN journey. But what we provide together as a team is to make sure that you get the best of these worlds, right? In terms of, I mean, obviously you've seen, right? Cisco and Airtel have been working together for a long time, right? It didn't matter if it was just a CPE device and a bandwidth at some point in time, but it also today it is graduated into providing end-to-end service from an SD-WAN perspective. On top of it, any umbrella kind of services that Cisco offers. So I'm just trying to kind of look at it from an overall end enterprise or a customer perspective here. While some of these things are being offered as a service today, and some of these things will happen day after tomorrow, day zero, day one types. But security and network has to be talked together, and you will need to figure out how to integrate with based on the transport in terms of how the edge device will talk to the application. Now, the security is provided at the data center, at Airtel's co-location, Airtel's data center, or at the application provider. It really doesn't matter. You need to make sure that the correct security is available at the right point in time, right? So just to kind of look at it from a basic use cases, I think now, and I have alluded to, avoid backhauling traffic, because that's how you provide the best application experience or user experience. Benefit from regional POPs, right? You can go to the nearest POP and then backhaul the traffic. I mean, use the bandwidth available to go to the destination application. Enable DIA, because that's kind of today. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of Airtel's. At least from a Cisco perspective, we know that if it was 80% internet, I mean, Mpls traffic going into the data center and 20% internet traffic, we see that number changing drastically, right? There's more internet traffic because today O365 is on Azure, right? Everybody uses email or in some form of email. Google has a lot more. Google applications are very popular. So we see that the data center traffic is kind of, the percentage is reducing and the internet traffic is kind of increasing. So enabling DIA makes it a lot better, because obviously, while Kanav alluded to, does it give the same SLAs? Does it give the same performance? We're seeing that to become more and more preferred, in the industry, right? And with all this, you need to make sure that the management is really from a single point, right? Airtel will take care of this from an end customer perspective. I mean, it doesn't matter if it is a link failure or a link is available, but you're not able to access internet, or is it literally an application not being available, or a cloud kind of is failure. I mean, they will figure out what is down or what is to be figured. I mean, taken care of, and do the needful from an end customer perspective, right? So security, like I said, right, is going to be one of the things that we offer. Doesn't matter where, it can be cloud security integrated or at regional hub. We need to make sure that it's provided the right place, right? So I think uh, like Kanav talked about, what are the 5 or 6 things that you look at in terms of an SD WAN. We are also looking at how to kind of make sure that it's available from an end customer perspective. Secure SD WAN makes sense. Does that kind of help, Kanav?
Yeah, that resonates with me, and I'm sure that would resonate with the broader audience we have here today. Kumar, I'd request you to go back to the first slide we had shared, because that's where the interesting part, is, when we talk about, say, Airtel's SD-WAN as a service, or intelligent VPN as we call it. It is, and you have rightly pointed out, it is not just really about SD-WAN and SD-WAN deployment, but all the network and security construct coming together and amalgamating to become a unified solution. So that's where I think the Airtel Cisco partnership I have seen benefit our customers, because
Sorry.
it could kind of look daunting. I'm referring to the next slide.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at so many components, how do you, because obviously it all sits on top of fundamentally the SD-WAN offering in a lot of ways. How do you stitch it all together? How do you guide or help, steer our customers in the right direction? Adopt maybe incrementally, starting from their SD-WAN journey to a network as a service process, or security piece adding on top of it, access control, multi-factor authentication, and all of this coming together as a SASE offering eventually and pretty soon now. So that's where I believe is the value that Airtel Cisco partnership kind of brings to the table. So as we support each other and support our customers to maneuver this complexity. So I think that's one area I have seen our customers give us great feedback on the fact that we know what we're doing. We have a great partner in Cisco from that lens. So overall, if I were to say talk about the Airtel Intelligent VPN piece, I mean, the overall vision that we have is that we want to transform the current enterprise ecosystem, into a entirely software-driven, access-agnostic network, and provide our customers with a consumer-grade experience for all our enterprise customers. To enable this vision, we have done a fair few things. Obviously, our relationship and partnership with Cisco only deepens by the day. But we've also, we also bring to the table varying degrees of engagement models. You could do a capex deal. You could have a low cost OpEx recurring cost kind of a model, or a hybrid service model where hardware is upfront owned and managed by the customers, and we do deployment, configuration, and everything alongside the connectivity piece as well. So I mean, it's sort of that, then in that sense, a one-stop shop for all sorts of SD-WAN engagement models that we bring to the market. Then I have also seen our partnership ecosystem to be a major contributor to bringing great customer experience for all our SD-WAN deployments. So the entire technology solution, the SI system integrator partnerships, the hand and feet support, our own network operation center, the enterprise NOC that we have for provisioning, monitoring, and managing the connectivity plus the SD-WAN piece. I mean, over the last couple of years, we have had the fortune of deploying fairly customized SD-WAN solutions basis customer use cases that you've touched upon previously. Allows us to bring to the table all those learnings, all those experiences to in a consultative kind of a nature, enable our customers to explore the full power of an SD-WAN solution. Then I think the biggest delta that Airtel brings is you know SD-WAN essentially is an overlay on top of the network, right? So unless the network is reliable and performing up to a certain expectation, SD-WAN can't really do much to further enhance. So that's where I think the Airtel's core strength comes to fore. We have, I think, one of the largest network footprint pan-India, near 100% reach. We are present across all access types, be it fiber, copper, RF, VSAT, or 4G, or DSL. So, and this solution with all these potential combinations of transport is again fairly media agnostic or transport agnostic SD-WAN solution that we bring to the table. Now, looking at a broader, we've touched upon a fair few points on the overall network and security coming together. You look at the Airtel enterprise portfolio, we have a fairly huge portfolio to offer along with SD-WAN. So we have, I think, probably one of the biggest strengths that we have is being able to offer your connectivity piece, your voice messaging, collaboration tools, your data center and cloud, cyber security, the IoT piece, and obviously the mobility part of it. So I mean, it again, not just from a managed SD-WAN standpoint, but if you look at a relatively broader picture, maybe look at a digital transformation agenda, that's another area where Airtel kind of stands out in terms of supporting our customers. Airtel has its own cloud infrastructure under the Nextra branding. This is where we have hosted our SD-WAN controllers, which is from behind our telco grade firewall, which is fairly secure to manage all our customers' SD-WAN deployments pan India and globally as well. So we have a DCDR setup enabled. So that kind of enables high availability, resiliency, and customers are kind of assured that they are in safe hands. Here, I would actually like to bring about a point that we would kind of appreciate that a lot of our BFSI customers are more from a compliance data security standpoint, are more comfortable with an on-prem deployment. However, we do have a fair few BFSI customers who have put their trust in us to manage their entire network setup with an SD-WAN solution, which is Airtel Cloud hosted. So that kind of is a testament to the trust our customers continue to put in the Airtel branding. And then again, from a digital customer experience standpoint, we have a Airtel Thanks for Business. We call it Airtel Enterprise Hub. We have enabled this as a one-stop shop, platform for all our customer requirements, be it ordering, be it any service requests, be it any complaints that might come up or any queries that might come up. So this is one-stop platform for all our customer requirements. Then we have also, on the SD-WAN piece, we have also invested in developing a reporting and monitoring tool, to plug some of the reporting gaps in terms of analytics and reports that our, controllers generate across our, solutions, SD-WAN solutions that we deploy. Uh, Again, it helps us extend this 360-degree view of network performance, traffic analysis for better planning and monitoring to our customers. So in terms of proactive monitoring, there are some predefined SLAs. If they get breached, an automated ticket will get generated basis predefined priority that gets allocated to uh, to the required kind of expertise. And we are able to turn around any ongoing change management or any challenges that we come across. We're able to address them in a fairly proactive fashion. So I think broadly speaking, this is where Airtel SD-WAN as a service and obviously the whole product roadmap we have for what SD-WAN or SASE would look like in future, and how we can together take this to our customers, help them progressively traverse this complex journey. So I believe these I think are things that I wanted to call out for the benefit of our viewers. So I think Kumar, we have sorry to interrupt. We have some time for Q&A. If we have questions,
Right.
I actually wanted to maybe touch upon some customer success. What should that look like for our customers? Maybe Rahul, do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions. We request you to post your questions in the Q&A box so that we could take them up.
No, while we wait for some questions, I mean, I would be really keen to get your view on what customer success should or would look like for our SD-WAN customers. I mean, we have spoken about this over Mpls, ILL, cost differential not really being similar to what the Western market looks like. Uh, how are these some of these things different in those geographies from what we see in India? Some of the caveats that customers should be aware of when they evaluate SD-WAN technology, and anything interesting that you might want to add.
Yeah, so I think see I'd categorize this in a couple of things. Kind of one, there are some things which are tangible, some not tangible, right? Unfortunately, I mean, like you alluded to, right? The cost, everybody thinks, from a cost perspective, bandwidth and stuff, there is a lot of cost savings, and it may be true in some geographies, in some places also here, but it's just not about just the bandwidth saving, cost saving, which is like what we're looking at from an SD-WAN perspective, right? I mean, I'll give you, I mean, my own, just to kind of a little bit, I know a little bit deep dive on this, but see, it's just not about uh, it's set up, right? I mean, if you had to do 200 locations, we would send 200 engineers to 200 locations, make sure they're connected, then the configurations, and there will be some challenges, come back, spend days to kind of fix that and stuff like that, right? See, today, I mean, it may look very, simple, and what kind of cost are we talking about? But if you really look at it, that's what you touched upon as zero touch provisioning. It's a huge thing, right? I mean, I know it takes the first one or the first, second, or two, three nodes that you put in will be a little challenge because you're going to set it up. But afterwards, after day one or whenever you start the installation, after the first two locations are done, I mean, it's really, really easy, right? I mean, you just ship a device and somebody will plug in the cables and it should come up with the right set of policies and rules that it needs to do based on, it's a type 1 branch or type 2 branch, it's a regional office or whatever, however you categorize. I mean, there's a lot of that happens, right? I mean, I have done, like, if you have take a 10 location and do VPNs. I mean, going into 10 locations and creating VPNs to all these 10 locations, it's a complex job. It's not easy manually configuring. You do nothing here. You just tell, on the vManage or on the dashboard and say, hey, this communication has to be secure. And depending on, if you have two links, like 4 overlays are formed, 4 IPsec tunnels are formed automatically and dynamically, depends on however you're configured, and then traffic flows securely. I mean, for a person like me who spent, like, 15, 20 years in this industry on just wider network, it's a huge revelation, right? I mean, network guys, I mean, it's really, really easy for them, right? Yeah, is that experience through and through all the time? Yeah, there'll be a little bit challenges, new technologies, teething problems, things like that. But once you do that a couple of times, it makes a lot of difference, right? Same thing, right? Extending, adding branches, adding networks. I mean, today it really doesn't matter. If you go back 10 years, Kanav, I'm sure all of us realize, right? If you had to open a branch, first you would go to the provider and say, hey, is it feasible to get that location up and running? Today you don't care, right? Just get the available bandwidth, whoever is providing in that location. It will become a part of your network in a blink of an eye. It just doesn't matter what the transport is. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that adds into this, right? Configuring the networks, right? It was not an easy task, right? It was really, really challenging. Today, once the policies and these things are configured, I mean, just simple things, right? You want to allow YouTube because your enterprise has said, I will let my, because YouTube is the way to do trainings and stuff like that. You have to let YouTube, and changing that policy, you have to go do it in 200 locations. Today, it's a couple of mouse clicks on the dashboard, and all these policies will get deployed in a couple of seconds. It doesn't matter if it's 10 locations or 100 locations or 1,000 locations. So there's a lot of that, and customers have benefited from a lot of these things. It's the operational cost. It's kind of like yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Today, a network engineer with all these, I mean, it can be as simple as a person like me and say, hey, O365 traffic, break it at the branch. I mean, it's kind of like a small, simple rule that you put on the dashboard, right? So that way, I think we've seen a lot of benefit. I mean, hard cost savings versus, intangible, there's quite a bit. And customers who have embarked on the journey, I think they're having a good experience on all of these things. Make sense?
Yeah, sure. I mean, absolutely. In terms of user experience, be it, network uptime that you can potentially achieve with all the, redundancy, this active dual, in some cases, 3 media connectivity that allows you, routing configuration that allows you to minimize your packet loss or jitter, you know, although local breakout allowing you to address the latency issues, measurable outcomes on your application performance scores, your ability to expand your business. Like India is a growth economy. Our customers are looking at, especially the retail or logistics kind of verticals, are post pandemic, this whole growth burst that has come in. They're rapidly expanding the number of sites. It's fairly easy. In no time your new site from a network standpoint can be up and running. So I think these are some, in some form or manner, you can obviously, in a controlled environment, you can measure and benchmark. But broadly, I think these are some of the things that customers should consider in terms of what is the outcome they're looking for in terms of an SD-WAN kind of an engagement. Not just looking at your, bandwidth aggregation
Correct.
or just bandwidth cost reduction because of whatever,
Correct.
challenges we have discussed, which is where Indian market is a little different from the Western world. looking at how much they're saving on the deployment cost, how much managerial bandwidth is free to focus on more strategic agenda, how much reduction they can achieve in terms of an unplanned downtime, the power that they never used to have in terms of a central control and monitoring piece that it brings in, that can take action proactively, identify issues, challenges, response time improvement. So I think those are some at some level tangible, benchmarked, at some level intangibles. But yeah, I mean these I would consider or recommend that our customers also look at when they evaluate SD-WAN technology. In addition, they should also look at, I wouldn't honestly say that SD-WAN is for everyone. I mean, a single site office may or may not really, depends on the use cases. May
Correct.
not find it very beneficial, but a retail outlet with say 500 sites in India could, do great in terms of cost saving. Say, moving from an MPLS plus MPLS kind of a connectivity, have an SD-WAN solution, use a secondary as a DSL or a low cost ILL link, even for that matter, maintain a redundancy in terms of the ISP that they're using. Uh, those kind of scenarios probably in terms of bandwidth cost per se will be more beneficial. That's a distributed environment setup, and then there are use cases where in the secure piece of SD-WAN that we're speaking about, the financial services or insurance sector would find different kind of use cases. So I think it's a fairly bespoke and customized kind of an offering. It's not a plug and play
Correct.
kind of a box, and that is how we approach our customers. That is what we also try and bring to the table in terms of the engagement. Throughout the cycle, we try and handhold in terms of what the existing setup is, what it should look like, undertaking the entire end-to-end deployment piece of it. Obviously, on top of the connectivity that we provide and take pride in terms of the service quality we have on the for connectivity. So this I believe is a broader aspect of the whole SD-WAN use case. And personally, in my view, I'm seeing a lot more traction coming in post-pandemic. A lot of these conversations, incoming inquiries from all sorts of industry verticals, not limited to one, two, or three, on SD-WAN, and companies looking to explore SD-WAN as a potential solution to all the challenges that they're facing as of today. So I think it's a fantastic time, to be honest, to be working on SD-WAN in India right now. I think next 12 to 24 months we'll see, in my understanding, close to 70-75% adoption of SD-WAN across our enterprise customer base pan India.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we're 100% on kind of, and then like you said, right, there are a lot of customers in India who embarked their journey. We have customers who have 1,000+ locations implemented and being used with service providers, and it's 100% kind of a managed service that customers are embarking on. So, and I think it's still, there's a lot more potential. And I mean, everybody is embarking. I mean, today everybody is talking about SD-WAN, exploring something or the other, making sure that hey, the journey is the transformation is happening because of all these challenges we talked about, right, in the beginning of the call. So I think uh, you know if there's any questions you want more details, I think there is like a small survey that is out there. If there's anything, please let us know. We will be able to come back to you. I mean, and then make sure that we provide you the details and make sure that you embark on this journey and make it a good experience for all of us. Uh, I don't think there are any more questions or any, right, Rahul and Kana?
No, there's one question the customer has is he really wants to understand how Airtel would add to in terms of looking from an SD-WAN perspective, and how since how long Airtel has been working in the SD-WAN space and how many customers they have basically is what he's trying to understand in India.
Sure. To answer the first question, we've already discussed the key capabilities that we bring to the table. If I were to say talk about SD-WAN specific, I mean, it's just you just let us do the entire network solution design, deployment, ongoing change management, provisioning, any service requests that need to be handled. So it's an end-to-end solution that we will stitch for you, will deploy for you, and will manage for you. So I think that's where we're able to bring our expertise to your benefit. To answer the second question on our SD-WAN experience per se, we've been in the market for about 2 to 3 years now. I believe across our engagement models, we have about 50-ish customers. I don't have the exact figure. Number of sites that we have under our management across industry verticals is upwards of I think 2-3,000.
I have a follow-up question to that. How Airtel will help us for Cisco SD-WAN functionality?
Sure. I will obviously post this call. I'll try and connect with you and maybe connect our sales team to understand. So okay, so how the engagement works. We have a solutions team. We have a PSS team. PSS is technology specialist. Solutions team, which we call PSG, are the experts on the overall network solution design. So they'll work with you, understand your current network setup. They'll propose to you a high-level diagram, the HLD piece of it. They'll also work with you to design your LLD for you. They'll prepare a BOQ for you. Obviously, then how you can optimize your connectivity piece, that they'll propose. Once this whole solution is shared and signed off by you, then we'll go about the deployment phase of it. Now, in this respect, we have a lot of these expertise in-house. We have SD-WAN specific, resources who are dedicatedly working on Cisco SD-WAN, be it Meraki or Viptela, who have been deploying these solutions for last 4-5 years. A lot of our customers, these guys have only onboarded. So we have fairly rich experience and expertise on that front. Once post-deployment, once this project phase is over, the project phase is actually managed by a separate project team. So that's another business unit we have. So once this whole project deployment happens, the project is closed, then it is handed over to our operations team, which is our ENOC, Enterprise Network Operations Center. Then that team, we have dedicated SD-WAN experts who are assigned on SD-WAN customer accounts. These are the guys who will then, on a day-to-day basis, monitor and manage your SD-WAN network.
Kanav, there is one more follow-up question to that is the customer wants to understand the functionality. He wants to understand the models for SD-WAN functionality for more MPLS links and ILL links.
Yeah, sure. Like we have said, the SD-WAN solution per se is media agnostic. It doesn't matter if it is MPLS or ILL. Yes, the solution performance is to an extent interlinked to the media performance or the transport performance. But SD-WAN works on anything. It will work on MPLS, ILL, it will work on MPLS over 4G, it will work on broadband, it will work on anything. But the expectation of the performance is directly linked to the quality of the transport we're using. Broadband doesn't necessarily offer you any SLA driven service. So I mean, if you have primary and secondary as broadband, maybe there's not as much an SD-WAN can do as it could do, say, with an MPLS plus ILL or MPLS MPLS or ILL kind of a combination.
Yeah, so and I want to ask, I mean, if it's anything to do with the devices, I mean, Cisco has a wide, I mean, Airtel Cisco, we have a wide range of devices. ISR 1K, ISR 4K, there's a new series called Cat 8K, which we do. All of them are SD-WAN supported. I mean, I'm not sure if the question came from link or a device perspective, but I'm just going to cover that. Rahul, there's one more question. How secure is SD-WAN compared to MPLS? I think Anju Mathur has asked that question. So, I mean, MPLS is MPLS, right? It's been there for decades and will continue to be there. But all all traffic SD-WAN, all SD-WAN traffic is always IPsec enabled. I mean, it's always encrypted. It's always so. It is. I mean, that's the kind of the best security that you can get today. So end of the day, I mean, there is security. You will be the same or be better than what you have today. So from a SD-WAN, compared to MPLS. So while it may not look like point to point, but even on the internet, that you build tunnels and there's always IPsec tunnels. So hopefully that answers the question, Anju. Over to you, Rahul, if there's any more questions. Otherwise, I think we are.
I don't see any other question right now.
Sure, Rahul. I think we're overshot time.
5 minutes. Yeah.
I think there's a question, but Mr. Saudagar, we'll ask the team to connect with you and explain or take you through the models in terms of on a one-to-one basis. Basically, they'll need to understand the information architecture and then be able to explain to you better accordingly. So I'll pass the information to the team and I'll ask them to connect you to help you and assist you with your queries, basically. Any comments from your end, Kumar and Kanav, so that we can close the session?
No, thanks.
No, Rahul. I think it was
thanks.
great platform. Thanks, Kumar. Sorry again interrupting you. And thanks, Rahul, for organizing this. It's been a great opportunity to come together and discuss what we are doing in the SD-WAN space and what we are excited about to bring to our customers.
Absolutely, Kanav. Thanks, Airtel team. Really, I enjoyed the session. I hope this was useful and beneficial to the participants. If there's any more details or any more questions, feel free. We are an email or a phone call away. Thanks, team.
Yeah, thanks, Rahul. Thanks, Kumar.
Thank you. Thank you, Kumar, for joining us, and thank you, Kanav. Thank you. I hope the information shared was insightful and helpful. We would request you all to connect back in case if you have queries, and we will reach out and address your queries as and when you receive them. We've taken the queries which you've received today, and we'll connect with you and get them addressed through our technical teams. Thank you all for joining. Have a good day ahead. Thank you, Kanav. Thank you, Kumar.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.